Hello everyone, this is the Insomniac GM, and today is RPG Day number 2, and for the discussion for Day 2 is what RPG would you use to introduce new players to the hobby? Well, I'm going to give a few different answers on this one. If I was to introduce someone to a new RPG, the first thing I would want to do is I would want to get to know the person and hook them in based off of what their interest is. So, if they're into superheroes, I would go Marvel Phase Rip. If they're into fantasy, I would go with OSR, most likely Old School Essentials. If they are into anime, OVA, I'd also want something that is simple. So, another thing I would also introduce them to is pretty much any game in the Year Zero engine. I don't know about Forbidden Lands. I do love Forbidden Lands, but it's kind of bordering on, it might be a little too intimidating for new players, but I could be wrong. So, now the other part of my answer is I was going to explain how I got my niece into tabletop games. So, she's into superheroes, and more specifically, she's into My Hero Academia. So what I did was I ran her and my girlfriend through OVA, and we did a My Hero game, which it was good. She had a lot of fun, but it didn't seem to catch her attention nearly as much as OSE. And I do plan on making a video on OSE more in depth, but I'm waiting till we have our upcoming session. Now, my girlfriend and my niece both love Greek mythology, so I ran them through a few different OSE sessions where they played in Greek mythology. So because of this, they were super into it. The second they would hear what monster they're going up against, they would get so into it, just like they knew how dangerous it was, and it was great. In fact, my niece, she ended up defeating the big bad in the last session, and she's been bragging about it to like her whole family and everything, and nobody plays tabletop games except us, so the only people who can really appreciate what she's saying is the people she played it with. Now, on top of that, to answer this question, my answer last time was the people I would love to introduce is my other nieces. So, to give an answer for them, so one of my two nieces is into Transformers, but I haven't gotten my hands on the Renegade Transformers yet. They keep delaying it, and although I want to help my friendly game store, they gave anyone who ordered directly through them free PDFs for the wait. So yeah, I'm a little salty on that, but I feel from what I'm seeing, this might be too complicated of a game for her, so I probably wouldn't go with the Transformers. I would probably stick with, for them, maybe I'd also go with OSE, but I don't know if I'd go Greek mythology on that. What I probably would also like to do is I'd probably run them through Tales from the Loop, and just run kind of like an ET-like scenario, but they play themselves. So they understand the mechanics, they get into the role of being themselves. And kind of scenarios they get into. And as they get more used to the idea of role-playing and playing with game mechanics baked in together, I'd go from there. So that's my answer there. But if it was somebody older than them, I would go with something simple and something to their taste. So that's my answer. In the comments, I'd love to hear what games you guys would introduce people to, introduce new players to, and what games have you introduced new players into the hobby with? I'd love to hear it in the comments, and take care.